Hey everyone, Ed Burton here, and I just got done from seeing The Purge, starring Ethan Hawke, and that's really all I know from the cast. And this is the movie that was very much hyped, very silently hyped. It's one of those movies that you just hear about in discussions where everyone's like, "Oh, Fast Six is out," but then you hear, "Oh, The Purge is here. Oh my God, The Purge is back." It's one of those silently hyped movies that everybody's saying, and everybody wants to see because this is a movie that has a very interesting idea. It's a movie that where it's about where crime is legal for 12 hours. That's a very interesting idea. You can have so much fun with that. You can do so much with that. And you have 12 hours, and crime is completely legal. And if you can buy that, if you can buy that the U.S. government would do that, then you're gonna do fine going into this movie. Um, and it's so clever how they kind of handle that. It's like, oh well, you know, crime rate's down. Crime rate is not a problem anymore. Violence is hardly happening now, and jobs have increased, and unemployment is at like 1%. It's so very interesting how they handle this, and they show it in a positive way, and they have their characters like, look what the purge does for America as a whole. And that's what I like. I like how in the beginning it's all positive, like, oh my God, this is helping us more than it's hurting us because of these legitimate facts that crime is down, that jobs have increased, crime has decreased to this one night. I like that a lot. But then you have to realize, like, well, what's stopping people from doing stuff anyway? What's stopping people from killing any other day of the week like we always have? What has gotten us so used to this that it happens only one day when other people just like, yeah, I don't like my boss. I'm going to go kill him now. Why wait a whole year to get it done? I mean, it's one of those things where you just like have to see it and buy it. Like, okay, what happens if people decide not to do it? Nope, doesn't happen. It hardly ever happens. Which 600 billion people in the world, it hardly happens. It's a little but it still handles itself very well, and I do like that. It's very hard to handle this idea. So we focus on a family, Ethan Hawke's family. God, I feel so bad. I don't remember the characters. It's Ethan Hawke's family. He has a wife and two kids, and they're a family. They're like the perfect suburban Well, not even suburban. They actually live in a very secure neighborhood, very wealthy neighborhood, and it's a place where just not many people go. They said that in the film. Like, this is an area where that stuff isn't supposed to happen. I do like that as well. That they live in kind of an area where it's very rare to see crime and all this because of how wealthy it is. Um, you know, but I do like that. I do like how they handled that, and it's interesting to see the family because they're really kind of suburban. They're trying to keep their family together, and they're very like this perfect family that you see in commercials and all this. They at least try to make it seem that way. They have one daughter who is 18. She's kind of like the rebel of the group, um, and she has this boyfriend who her father Ethan Hawke doesn't like because of how old he is. You have a son, and it's the son that plays Max in Parenthood, and I love him in Parenthood. He's very good. Um, so good that I actually thought he had the the illness he was playing. He's very good actor. He wasn't very good in this movie. And I digress. You have a son who's like 9, and he is more of the genius. He created a freaking robot that goes around, has a camera, and can do all this different stuff, and it's off of a remote control. So he's the smart one. Ethan Hawke is more of the just happy to be where he is. Very successful, very happy where he is. And of course, you have the stereotypical wife that has no problems whatsoever, and then is just like the perfect housewife. So some of the characters aren't very interesting. This having a story that's so very interesting, the characters aren't really up there with the story. It's kind of characters here and story there. So, but I do like the actors that are playing them. The actors are very good, especially Ethan Hawke. He is very good as the father. You really relate to him very well. You know, he feels like a dad. He feels like a father. You see him and you're like, oh well, that's a really nice cool dad. I mean, he's like one of those dads that, you know, it's like, oh well, I can relate that to my dad or someone else's dad or something like that. He's a very good actor. He was very good in this role. I really liked him. Um, the wife, the one that played the wife, she was okay. Again, she didn't have much to go with because her character isn't very developed. She's just there. I mean, if she wasn't there, nothing would have been changed at all. You have the uh, the um, the son. He's very like awkward where he isn't supposed to be awkward. He's just the way he says his dialogue just comes out very awkward, very unemotional. He needs to emote more, in my opinion. The actor that's playing him, and he plays Max in Parenthood, so it's very tough because that's Max from Parenthood is someone that's very unemotional. Only at times does he really emote much. So there's that. And the the daughter is again very stereotypical. Rebel, just wants to be out on her own, and just to keep distance from her family. Just she's more the loner of the group. Again, more stereotypical. Um, but again, she does very well. She holds herself very well for what she has to go with. So there's that, and uh, the freaking stupid ass 9-year old kid sees a guy running, and running from somewhere, and he's asking for help, and he freaking they have like this security system that Ethan Hawke sells for a living, and they have it, and he opens it, he disarms it, and then lets the homeless guy in. That is where the problems start because you have all these questions like, well, what happens if? Well, they already announced like, oh, he's not a killer and all this. Well, again, there's people after the homeless guy. There's people after the homeless guy, and they're like this group, and they all work together, and they all freaking again want to kill this homeless guy. Now he runs in, and the group finds out that they're holding him. And at first, the freaking stupid ass kid, the 9-year-old little kid, takes him somewhere to hide, and hides in his like secret spot. And then the group comes, and he's just like, well, we want the guy, or we're gonna come in and kill your family and kill him. So Ethan Hawke and the rest of the people obviously smartly look for him, and want to bring him out there. Now, again, it's not something nice. It's not something like, oh, well, that's nice of them. Again, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be much more humanistic. It's a it's a people study. It's a human nature study. If you were in this situation, what would human nature do in this situation if they were ever in it? And they do it. It's not the nicest thing to do, but it's what you need to do. If you're up against the wall, you don't fight and be rebels and stand up for yourself. No, you give him, because family means everything. I mean, you have to sacrifice for family, and you don't know this guy. You don't know the homeless guy. For all you know, he could be a murderer, an ex-con, or something like that. That doesn't appreciate life. I mean, again, you don't know this homeless guy, so it's like, yeah, of course you're going to go out and bring him there because he doesn't affect you in any way. Your family affects you because they're your family. This homeless guy is nobody to you. So, of course, you're going to save your family over them. But this freaking kid hides him. So, again, he's really the reason why this is all going down, because of this stupid kid that is letting him hide. And then, sooner or later, I guess the stupidity of this one character carries on to the rest of the characters, because they're freaking defending the homeless guy. They're like, you can't do this to him, Dad. You can't. The dad is like, yeah, we got to get him out. The dad finds him, and it's like, okay, we got to get him out. We have to give him to him. But the rest of the family is like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're becoming like them. Well, it's freaking legal, for one. Secondly, you have your 2 kids in the house that could die. And thirdly, you have, again, your 2 kids, and it's legal. You can do this. You can do this. I mean, I get that it's like, well, we don't want to become like that. We don't want to do that. But they friggin' announce that they would do it if they had the need to do it. If they were in this situation where it was purge day and they were mad at somebody, Ethan Hawke said, yeah, I would do it. And, that would be okay. So again, You don't know that the characters don't like it. They're freaking giving all the heat to their father because it's like, Dad, what are you doing? We don't love you now because you're doing this and that. Well, guess what? You're gonna die if I don't do it. So what would you rather have me do? Again, it's just the plot holes keep on building and building and building and building after it, and then it becomes more cliched, much more uncreative. Much more uncreated. And a lot of people had a problem with this film is that it was really focused only on one family. They didn't get to see outside of this neighborhood what really goes on, the violence and brutality that comes from Purge Day. Only a little bit in the beginning did they see it. So again, I do like that it's centered on one type of family. I get why people don't like it, but I did. I had no problem with that. But if you're going to see like, oh well, this is going to be like a whole universal type thing, and how the universe is affected by it, no, it's really not. They briefly summarize it, but they don't really show it. So if that's a lot of people's problems with the film. I had no problem with it. I liked it. I liked that it was centered on this family. But back to the problem. And this one little problem about the kid letting the homeless guy into the house is brings on a whole slew of plot holes and all this, because the homeless guy, when they're looking for this homeless guy, the mother is looking for her, and he freaking holds a knife to her throat. And this is the point. What's stopping him from doing it himself? If he was in the same situation, he wouldn't hesitate. These are people that are helping him, involuntarily helping him, but still, you're holding a knife to her. So, again, I get that he's defending himself, but still, you're not helping your case. He's ready to kill your wife and your mother, yet you're going to still defend him and say, no, we can't do this to him. And then she defends him. She's like, no, we can't do this. You have to protect him. We can't do it. And then the stupidity again runs to the father, and they decide to fight against this group. That's where it becomes stupid, because again, if you were in this, I know they want to make the crowds like, oh, well, we want these people to be likable characters. You cannot do that. You cannot have it both ways, where you have a creative idea, this creative and likable characters in this type of environment, situation, atmosphere. You cannot do it. It just doesn't work that way. You cannot have it both ways. It's one of those things where go with this creative idea and go through it all the way with this type of story, or bullcrap it and don't do this idea at all, because if you want likable characters, you're not going to get them, because if anyone else was in this situation, they would put the homeless guy out there and save themselves, and understandably so. It's a movie about human nature and what human nature would do put into this situation, and they didn't handle it realistically enough. They were handling it realistically enough all the way through so far, but this is where it gets stupid. And I would have really liked to see different people that react to different situations, like have more of a character-oriented film. But it's mainly just falling off this creative idea that falls flat on its butt because of the stupid, idiotic decisions they made for the script and the dialogue and the characters. You cannot do it. You cannot have it both ways. That's the problem with the movie, in my opinion. They try to make likable characters in a situation that wouldn't make likable characters. And again, that's where the plot holes come. That's where it gets unentertaining. But again, if you can buy it, I'm sure that you'll like it. I didn't hate the movie. It's just that one little problem. It was still entertaining. The acting was still very good for the most part. The villains are so over the top, and I love the villains in that they're playing mind games with the camera, shooting themselves with their fingers and freaking have axes and all this, and they have those stupid masks. I love the villains because of how over the top they are. They are so enjoyable to watch. So I do enjoy the characters. I do like the villains. I do like the family, even though how stereotypical they are. The actors bring more to them. I do like the characters. I do like the story. Just there's so many consistent plot holes that a lot of horror movies fall into. You would think a creative idea like this wouldn't be so anticlimactic. So I would like to see another person take on this idea and do it right. Have maybe a Purge sequel and do it right, because you can't just leave it like this, where you have this much of a creative idea and make it fall flat like that. I would do the movie. I would write a script right now. But ain't no one got time for that. I don't got time for that. So I like the movie to an extent. I didn't like the idea that the family was so stupid. Again, it runs into that stupidity character, cliche. Like, the characters are stupid, just like in any horror movie. The characters become stupid. They start out smart. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, this horror movie's gonna be good. This horror movie's gonna hand it in an intelligent way. But then they fall into the stupid character syndrome that every horror movie falls into. So that was the only problem I really had with the film. And it's not that big of a problem like I'm hyping it up to be. Again, it's easily passable if you can buy it. If you can't, then it kind of bugs you in the back of your mind a little bit. But again, it doesn't affect the whole film because again, it is realistic to an extent. It is entertaining. It's still very fun to watch these characters and watch this story unfold, and you're always at the edge of your seat, so I do like it. But the climax, again, the climax is a little forced, but I don't want to give that much away. I'm not going to go into that much detail, or I end up will. So I'd say see it. It's out in theaters now. See it. I mean, it's not. You won't regret seeing it, but just don't expect a perfect, creative, amazing film. So see it. My final star rating 7 out of 10. 7 stars out of 10 stars. Definitely see it in theaters. Check it out. It's out in theaters now. The Purge. Very entertaining, anticlimactic but entertaining. So with that said, till next time, Ed Burton signing off. Peace.